Imagine you're sitting in a doctor's office. You went in for a routine blood test. Nothing serious, just a checkup. You're feeling fine. You have plans for the weekend. You're not worried. Then the results come back. Cancer markers, abnormal readings, numbers that suggest something is seriously wrong inside your body. Your world stops. You tell your family. You cry. You start making phone calls you never imagined making. You begin mentally rewriting your future, your retirement, your children's weddings, the years you thought you had ahead of you. And then, weeks later, you find out the test was wrong. Not slightly off, not a minor error, completely, catastrophically wrong. The machine that ran your blood never worked properly. The company that made it knew. And the woman who built it looked the entire world in the eye and called it a revolution. Her name was Elizabeth Holmes. She was going to change medicine forever. She changed thousands of lives, just not in the way that she promised. This is the story of Theranos, the story of a woman who faked a medical device, a young scientist who risked everything to expose her, and the patients caught in the middle of one of the most dangerous frauds in Silicon Valley history. Elizabeth Holmes grew up in Washington, D.C. in an ambitious family with deep history of achievement. From childhood, she was obsessed with one thing: becoming a billionaire. Not successful, not comfortable, a billionaire. At 19, she enrolled at Stanford University studying chemical engineering. She was brilliant, driven, and magnetic in a way that made people want to believe her. She also had a secret weapon she carefully constructed: a voice. Elizabeth Holmes naturally spoke in a higher register like most people, but somewhere along the way she decided that a deep, authoritative baritone commanded more respect. So she cultivated one, practiced it, deployed it in every meeting, every interview, every boardroom. She also never blinked. She held eye contact longer than was comfortable, longer than was natural, in a way that made people feel seen and unsettled, all at the same time. She dressed exclusively in black turtlenecks, deliberately, consciously, because Steve Jobs dressed that way, because she wanted people to think of Jobs when they looked at her. This was not a coincidence. This was a calculated performance, and every element was engineered to project genius. In 2003, she dropped out of Stanford and founded Theranos. She was 19 years old. The idea of Theranos was genuinely compelling. What if you could run hundreds of medical tests from just a few drops of blood taken from a finger prick instead of the traditional needle draw? Faster, cheaper, more accessible, available in pharmacies everywhere, democratizing healthcare for everyone. It was a beautiful vision. The only problem was the technology didn't exist, and Elizabeth Holmes built a billion-dollar company on the promise that it did. Theranos raised hundreds of millions of dollars from some of the most powerful people in the world: Rupert Murdoch, Betsy DeVos, the Walton family, Larry Ellison, former secretaries of state, former senators, military generals. Holmes didn't just raise money. She assembled a board of directors that read like a who's who of American power. People so distinguished, so respected that their presence alone silenced any doubters. Who's going to ask a question about a company backed by two former secretaries of state? At its peak, Theranos was valued at $9 billion. Elizabeth Holmes, she was worth an estimated $4.5 billion on paper, and she was the youngest female self-made billionaire in American history. Magazine covers, TED Talks, standing ovations. Inside the lab, complete chaos. The Edison machine, Theranos' proprietary blood testing device, simply did not work. It could not perform the hundreds of tests that Holmes claimed. The results it produced were wildly inaccurate and dangerously unreliable. So Theranos did something extraordinary in its cynicism. For most of the tests it offered, it was secretly using conventional blood testing machines made by other companies, the same machines used by every other lab in America. The machines it claimed to have made obsolete. And for the tests it did run on the Edison, the results were so unreliable that real patients were receiving false readings about their own bodies, false positives, false negatives. People were told they might have cancer when they didn't, and people were told they were fine when they weren't. Elizabeth Holmes knew. Her partner and president, Ramesh Balwani, also knew. They kept going. In 2013, a 22-year-old named Tyler Schultz joined Theranos as a research associate. He was young, idealistic, and genuinely excited about the mission. He also happened to be the grandson of George Schultz, the former Secretary of State, one of the most respected men in America, and one of Theranos' most prominent board members. Now, Tyler didn't get the job because of his grandfather. He got it because he believed in what Theranos was doing. He wanted to be a part of something that mattered. Within months, though, he started to feel uneasy. The science didn't add up. The results were inconsistent. When he raised concerns internally, he was dismissed, deflected, and subtly warned not to push too hard. Then he ran his own experiment. He sent identical blood samples to Theranos and to a conventional lab. The results came back completely different. Not slightly different, completely different. He had his proof. Tyler Schultz was about 25 years old. His grandfather sat on the board of the company he was about to expose. His family's reputation was intertwined with Theranos' success. Elizabeth Holmes had lawyers, private investigators, and hundreds of millions of dollars at her disposal. He told the truth anyway. He went to the California Department of Health and reported what he'd found. He became a source for Wall Street Journal reporter John Carreyrou, whose investigation would eventually bring the whole edifice crashing down. When Holmes found out, she reacted in the way powerful fraudsters always react. She sent lawyers. She sent private investigators who followed Tyler and his girlfriend around. She threatened legal action designed not to win in court, but to bankrupt him into silence. She also did something particularly cruel. She called his grandfather. She told George Schultz that his grandson was a traitor, that he was confused, that he was being manipulated by journalists who wanted to destroy a great American company. George Schultz, one of the most distinguished Americans of the 20th century, believed her over his own grandson. For a period, Tyler Schultz lost his relationship with his grandfather entirely. The man he had looked up to his entire life chose Elizabeth Holmes over him. Tyler Schultz held firm. In October 2015, Wall Street Journal reporter John Carreyrou published his investigation into Theranos. Holmes went on television. She called it a baseless attack. She said the technology was real, the science was sound, and the journal was trying to destroy an American innovator. She was so convincing that many people believed her. But Carreyrou kept reporting. More sources came forward. More evidence emerged. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services investigated Theranos' laboratory. What they found was damning. The lab posed an immediate jeopardy to patient safety. In 2016, Theranos was banned from operating blood testing labs for 2 years. Holmes was personally banned from the industry. The $9 billion valuation evaporated. The investors who'd lined up to back her lost everything. And the patients, the people who trusted Theranos with their health, they were notified that their results might be unreliable, that the cancer scare might have been wrong, but that clean bill of health, that might have been wrong too. In 2018, the Department of Justice indicted Elizabeth Holmes and Ramesh Balwani on multiple counts of fraud. Holmes' trial began in 2021. and she deployed a defense that shocked many observers. She claimed that she had been psychologically abused by Balwani and was herself a victim. In January 2022, she was found guilty on 4 counts of fraud. She was sentenced to 11 years and 3 months in a federal prison. She reported to prison in May 2023 when she was 39 years old. I want to stay with the patients for a moment, because in the Enron story, the victims lost money, and in the Madoff story, the victims lost their savings. But the Theranos story is different. The victims lost something much harder to quantify. They lost certainty about their own bodies. Patients who received false cancer diagnoses spent weeks or months believing that they might be dying. The psychological damage of that experience doesn't disappear when you find out the test was wrong. The fear, it lingers. The anxiety doesn't simply switch off. Patients who receive false negatives, told that they were healthy when something was actually wrong, may have delayed treatment that could have saved their lives. We will never know the full extent of that harm. And Tyler Schultz? He eventually reconciled with his grandfather before George Schultz died in 2021 at the age of 100. In his final years, George Schultz acknowledged that his grandson had been right and that he should have listened. Tyler Schultz was 25 years old when he made the hardest decision of his life. He lost his family relationships, faced legal harassment, and lived under surveillance because he believed patients deserved the truth. He was right, and it cost him enormously to be right. Every fraud has an architect. Elizabeth Holmes was one of the most gifted con artists we will ever cover on this channel because she just didn't fool investors. She fooled doctors. She fooled regulators. She fooled some of the most powerful and sophisticated people in the world. She did it with a costume, a voice, an unwavering stare, and a vision so beautiful that people desperately wanted it to be true. That's the lesson here. The most dangerous frauds aren't the ones that sound suspicious. They're the ones that sound inspiring. They're the ones where you want to believe so badly that you stop asking questions. Always ask questions, especially when the vision is beautiful. Tyler Schultz asked questions. It cost him everything. For a while. But he was right. Next week, we are going inside WeWork, the company that convinced the world a real estate business was actually a tech startup worth $47 billion, and the charismatic, barefoot, tequila-drinking CEO who pulled it off. Subscribe so you don't miss it. I'll see you Friday.